Hey guys, welcome back to Pages of Magic. Today I'm going to show you, because I have this thing, I love books about books. I have a whole bunch of them that I've collected. I think what I've compiled here today is almost all that I have. There might be one or two little stragglers that are hiding out in totes, but yes, I'm going to go through all of my books about books. So let's jump into that. To start off, I have So You Think You're a Bookworm. This is just something I picked up on clearance at Barnes & Noble's, and it has just little profiles of people who love books, from the binger to the Hogwarts alumni to 11 people you'll find in every book club, the abuser, 12 thoughts all bookworms have when they go into a bookstore. It's just a really cute, quick read. I think I read it in like maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but it's really fun. I thought I'll probably do a video just going through the book and reading some of the passages, describing what they are. Like there's one, the romantic versus the sexophile. So that's an interesting one. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do a video on this sometime later. I have The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. I haven't actually read this, like most of them I haven't actually read. They're on my to-read list, so that's what I'm trying to get through these in this year. That's my goal, to get through all the books that I own that are books about books. So this book is, the blurb on the back says, Irene is a professional spy for the mysterious library, a shadowy organization that collects important works of fiction from all the different realities. Most recently, she and her her assistant, there's a word in between her and assistant that I can't pronounce, Kai, have been sent to an alternative London. Wow, English is my first language, guys. Their mission, retrieve a particularly dangerous book. The problem, by the time they arrive, it's already been stolen. So it's a fantasy, but it just sounds so interesting. And actually, most of these books I actually have in the truck with me so that I can read them anytime I want. And this one is definitely going to the top of the read pile. Number 3 is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. And this is another one I have not read yet, but the blurb says, the Great Recession has shuffled Clay Janin out of his life as a San Francisco web design drone, and serendipity, sheer curiosity, and the ability to climb a ladder like a monkey have landed him a new gig working the night shift at Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore. But after a few days on the job, Clay begins to realize that the store is even more curious than the name suggests. There are only a few customers, and they come in repeatedly and never seem to actually buy anything. Instead, they check out, which is in quotes, check out, and possibly obscure volumes from strange corners of the store, all according to some elaborate, long-standing arrangement with the gnomic Mr. Penumbra. The store must be a front for something larger. Soon Clay has embarked on a complex analysis of the customer's behaviors and roped his friends into helping him figure out just what is going on. And when they bring their findings to Mr. Penumbra, it turns out the secrets extend far outside the walls of the bookstore. It doesn't say what the... Oh, it's just fiction, so it's not science fiction or anything like that. But that's another one I have that's a book about books. This one is one that I am the most excited to read. I actually have 2 copies because I wanted to make sure that one of the copies stays in pristine condition, because they are kind of hard to find. And that is Shakespeare and Company, The Story of an American Bookshop in Paris by Sylvia Beach. So Sylvia Beach had the original Shakespeare and Company bookstore in Paris. It's not the one that's there currently. The one that is currently in Paris is actually named after Sylvia Beach's bookshop. but this is, I think she published it herself, and she wrote it herself, but it is, let's read the insert. Sylvia Beach made literary history when, in 1922, she published James Joyce's Ulysses, then banned in every English-speaking country in the world under the imprint of Shakespeare and Company, her American bookshop on the left bank. Not only Joyce, but most of the writers who were to make the 20s famous were then converging on Paris to live and work. They were all customers and callers at Shakespeare and Company, and the little bookshop at 12 Rue de Lyon became the humming center of the most significant literary movement of our century. So yes, this is at the top of my to-be-read list, and you can see this one's actually in pretty good condition, except for the edges along the cover here are kind of ripped and everything. The other one that I have is plastic wrapped, and I haven't unwrapped it just in case it rips it or something, so I try to keep it in the best condition I can. Next, I'm not sure where actually I got this one, but it is ABC for Book Collectors by John Carter. It is John Carter's ABC for Book Collectors has long been established as the most enjoyable and well, oh my gosh, Sam. Has long been established as the most enjoyable as well as the most informative reference book on the subject. I can read, I promise. Here in over 450 alphabetical entries ranging in length from a single line to several pages may be found with and analysis of the technical terms of book collecting and bibliography. Interspersed with salutary, okay, there's a word there, comment on such subjects as auctions, conditions, facsimiles, and fakes, points, rarity, etc. The 7th edition revised and with a new introduction by Nicholas Barker, editor of The Book Collector, incorporates additions and amendments which he has accumulated since the last edition was updated from Oak Knoll Press. Nicholas Barker worked with his friends John Carter revisiting the ABC up to the latter's death in 1975 and has faithfully preserved the spirit of the original. The ABC thus retains its character as an indispensable guide for book collecting. So that's the ABC for Book Collectors. Next, I have An English Library, A Bookman's Guide by F. Seymour Smith. And this one doesn't actually have a blurb in it. I think it's actually a club member edition because there's no barcode or anything in it. So it's not really a collector's item, but it was something that I really wanted, and this was the only edition I could find. So, but it just lists autobiographies and memoirs, biographies, essays, belles letters, and literary criticism, fiction, history, philosophy and religion, poetry and poetic drama, prose drama, travel description and topography, and then a bookman's reference library, the author index, title index, and list of paperback series. So that's another one that I will have to go through probably carefully and keep a list of all the books and authors that we want to add to our collection. Okay, next is one of my 2 newest books. Actually, it's one of my 4 newest ones. It is called The Book Charmer by Karen Hawkins. There we go. And it is, I think it's a fiction or romantic fiction or something like that, but it says, Sarah Dove is no ordinary bookworm. To her, books live, breathe, and sometimes even speak. As the librarian in her quaint southern town of Dove Pond, North Carolina, her gift helps place every book in the hands of the perfect reader. Recently, however, the books have been whispering about something out of the ordinary, the arrival of a displaced city girl named Grace Wheeler. If the books are right, Grace could be the savior Dove Pond desperately needs. The problem is Grace wants little to do with the town or its quirky residents, Sarah chief among them. So yeah, it's about a little bookworm, which we can all relate to. So the next one is kind of in the same similar fashion, The Little Bookshop on the Seine. I believe this might be a Christmas read, so I was a little late getting it, so I can't read it this last year for Christmas, but maybe next Christmas. I believe this one is another fiction or romance fiction. It might even be a Harlequin romance, I don't know. But it says, when bookshop owner Sarah Smith is offered the opportunity for a job exchange with her Parisian friend Sophie, saying yes is a no-brainer after all. What kind of romantic would turn down 6 months in Paris? Sarah is sure she's in for experience of a lifetime, days spent surrounded by literature in a gorgeous bookshop, and the chance to watch snowfall over the Eiffel Tower. Plus now she can meet up with her journalist boyfriend Ridge when his job takes him around the globe. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Christmas time Harlequin romance, I think is what this one is. So this next one I also own 2 copies of, and it is, I believe, the oldest book that I own. And I have 2 because the first time I bought it, the book was in terrible condition. Like there were holes through the pages and everything. I mean, it was written in like 1860 something, 1886. Yeah. So even this one, like, you can tell the pages are really stiff, but the other one, the pages were just falling apart and there were holes in it. But this is How to Form a Library by H.B. Wheatley. And it just goes through, I believe it goes through one man's journey to fill his library with all the books that should be in your library. But yeah, you can see the pages, they look pretty old, if the camera will focus on them. But that's How to Form a Library. The next one I have is The Amenities of Book Collecting by A. Edward Newton. So yeah, I got this from Dunway Books because they left their card in there. I don't remember what year this one was published, if I could find the title page. Let's see, oh gosh. 1918. So it's probably the second oldest book. And there's a little caricature, 2 great Victorians. W.M. Thackeray and Charles Dickens is on the inside. There's that. Gosh, I'm losing the page already. So I believe this is in the same format as How to Form a Library, but there are pictures of authors in here, just scattered throughout in little caricatures. Oh gosh, my English is just terrible today. So that does break up the monotony of normal reading. And there's even little ads that would have been in old newspapers. There's Henry Widener. So yeah, this is another one that The Amenities of Book Collecting I'm kind of interested in reading because it looks like it goes in depth into a lot of authors and everything that's happened in the book collecting industry. I do believe this is the 2nd edition, but it was the earliest one that I could find, actually. So, yep, that's that one. On to our next. This one is actually, it looks like it was a reprint because it's, I believe, the same author as How to Form a Library, H.B. Wheatley, except this one is How to Make an Index by H.B. Wheatley, and you can tell obviously it's a reprinting because it looks nothing like this edition. And so this just goes through, I believe, and tells you how he indexed his book collection. So that's kind of interesting, but there's no little blurb about it or anything I can read to you, but I'm pretty sure that's what this one is. It's just how he indexed his book collection. The next one, it's actually the first book in a series of 3, and I wanted to read it before I bought the other 2. But it is The Last Word by Paul Combs. Paul Combs is actually the author that runs the Bookish podcast. So if you like the podcast, maybe check out his book, or if you like his book, definitely check out his podcast. It's pretty good, but he does a lot. He posts, like, he doesn't make original content all the time. He posts a lot of previous episodes for the current week, which it's kind of annoying for me because I like new content, but I understand for new listeners, it's nice to go back and have old episodes be brought back up again. Anyways, The Last Word by Paul Combs says, Sal Terranova and Camden Templeton are cousins separated by upbringing, the Atlantic Ocean, and a common language. But fate, a run of bad luck, and a dead uncle have thrown them together, and together they must save the family bookstore from financial ruin, from its own insane employees, and probably from themselves. This is the story of what happens when The Sopranos meets Faulty Towers in a bookstore. So it kind of sounds interesting. I'd like to read it so I can read the other 2 if I like them. Okay, we're about halfway done, guys. So we have The Yellow Lighted Bookshop, a memoir, a history by Louis Busby. There's that one. And this one, the blurb says, in The Yellow Lighted Bookshop, Busby, a former bookseller and sales representative, celebrates the unique experience of the bookstore, the smell and touch of books, the joy of getting lost in the deep canyons of shelves, and the silent community of readers. He shares his passion for books, which began when ordering through the Weekly Reader in grade school. Woven throughout is a fascinating historical account of the bookseller trade, from the great Alexandria Library with an estimated 1 million papyrus scrolls to Sylvia Beach's famous Paris bookstore, Shakespeare and Company, that led to the extraordinary effort to publish and sell James Joyce's Ulysses. Rich with anecdotes, The Yellow Lighted Bookshop is a perfect choice for those who relish the enduring pleasure of spending an afternoon finding just the right book. So it sounds interesting because it's based on an actual bookshop owner. So it should be a really good read too. Okay, next we have Sixpence House, Lost in the Town of Books by Paul Collins. There's that. And this one, Paul Collins and his family abandoned the hills of San Francisco to move to the Welsh countryside, to the little cobblestone village of Hay-on-Way, the town of books, boasting 1,500 inhabitants and 40 bookstores, antiquarian bookstores, no less. So, I don't remember if it is a biography or not, but the main character, I haven't read it. This is just a blurb of why I bought the book. The man in it and his wife move, like they say, from the United States to the town in Great Britain where they have 40 bookstores. And it goes through their adventures of trying to live there, actually, to buy a house and to go through all of the bookshops. And it's actually the book that brought that town on the map so that they have millions of visitors. Not so much right now during COVID, but before, a lot of visitors to that town to visit all the bookshops, and they do have a book festival in that town too. So this was another one that I'm kind of excited to read because it is based on real life and a town that would be amazing to visit someday. Okay, next we have Booked to Die by John Dunning. There we go. And it's supposed to be a mystery, so this is a different genre altogether from what we've had so far. It's a crime novel. Denver cop Cliff Janway probably knows as much about books as he does about homicide. His living room resembles an adjunct to the public library. He's aware that a first edition of a Stephen King can bring as much as a first edition of Mark Twain, and that a copy of Raymond Chandler's Lady in the Lake is worth close to $1,000. And he realizes that, contrary to common belief, older doesn't necessarily mean more valuable. He also knows the value of volumes can be hidden in plain view among otherwise ordinary book collections. It's not easy to find such books, but some people seem to have an extraordinary, almost superhuman talent for homing in on the treasures. So I'm not going to read the whole blurb because it goes on for the whole side there, and then the back cover too. But it's basically somebody steals a rare book, and this cop has to go find the person that has stole it and retrieve the book. I don't remember even what book it was. But yeah, it's some rare book that's super expensive gets stolen. So that's Booked to Die. Okay, these next two are, I believe they're in a series, but you can read them out of order. So they're both by Jenny Colgan, and this one is The Bookshop on the Corner, and this one is The Bookshop on the Shore. So I think I'm missing two in the series, but like I said, you can read them out of order, is what I've been told. So we'll find out, I guess. So Bookshop on the Corner is Nina Redman is a literary matchmaker. Pairing a reader with a perfect book is her passion, and also her job. Or at least it was. Until yesterday, she was a librarian in the hectic city. But now the job she loved is no more. Determined to make a new life for herself, Nina moves to a sleepy village many miles away. There she buys a van and transforms it into a mobile bookshop that she drives from neighborhood to neighborhood, changing one life after another with the power of storytelling. From helping her grumpy landlord deliver a lamb to sharing picnics with a charming train conductor who serenades her with poetry, Nina discovers there's plenty of adventure, magic, and soul in a place that's beginning to feel like home. A place where she just might be able to write her own happy ending. And that was The Bookshop on the Corner. So, The Bookshop on the Shore is desperate to escape London. A single mother, Zoe, wants to build a new life for her and her 4-year-old son, Harry. She can barely afford the crammed studio apartment on a busy street where shouting football fans keep them awake at night. And Harry's dad, Jazz, a charismatic but perpetually broke DJ, is no help at all. But her sister, Surinder, comes to Zoe's aid, hooking her up with a job as far away from the urban crush as possible, working at a bookshop on the banks of Loch Ness. And there's a second job to cover housing. Zoe will be an au pair for 3 children at a genuine castle in the Scottish Highlands. And so that one is The Bookshop on the Shore. Okay, we have 3 books left. This one, so it was written by 2 people, Doug Dorst and J.J. Abrams, which you might know is the famous director. However, it is not an ordinary book. So let me take this out. First, you'll notice there's a little library sticker on the side. That's actually part of the book. So it is, now you'll see it says The Ship of Theseus by V.M. Straka. And it is loaded with just little goodies and writings shoved in the pages. So J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst wrote this book and made the writings and everything. So it's supposed to be a book about people reading a book. So the writings that are in the book that are off to the side and in the margins and everything are these two people that meet because they were reading this book, Ship of Theseus. And they didn't actually meet in real life. They met through the book. It was in a library or something like that. And one guy just made markings down the side of it as he started reading it. And so the second person came along and started reading it and just replied to his comments in the margins about the book. I started reading it, but I want to be careful because I don't want to lose anything out of it. This was actually quite an expensive book to find. It's really hard to find this book. I had to search pretty much every bookshop website I know to find it, and I ended up paying like $50 for it, which is crazy. But I'm really excited to read it because it's a super interesting concept to have a book like this. Okay, my last two books are the newest books that I have. So the first one is Bibliophile, an illustrated missing colony by Jane Miscellany. I pronounced the last word wrong. But there's that one. It's really gorgeous. So it goes through, this woman gets paid to paint these portraits of books for people. And so she goes through and she talks about the different books and how gorgeous the covers are. And this was just a random book, actually, that I found in Barnes & Noble's the last time I was in there. They had a whole section on books about books. Well, they only had like 3 different books on the shelf, and this just happened to be one of them. So I picked it up, and I just fell in love with just all the illustrations. Look at this. And then just the topics, beloved bookstores. So it has a whole section on bookstores that we all love. And then who can't pass up this cover? Look at that. So yeah, this is another one that I'm excited to be reading. Okay, take a breath. We made it. This is the last book, and I put it upside down and backwards. So this is ExLibris, 100 plus books to read and reread by, I'm going to butcher it, Michiko Kakutani. So I got an alert on one of the bookshops that I follow from Atlanta or something like that, that they had this for sale, and I didn't know it was supposed to come out yet. But while I was home for Christmas, I believe, I bought the Bibliophile book and this one because they just happened to have it and it was in the same section. And so yeah, I got it. And this is literary criticism, books and reading is what the description on the back says. So the blurb says, in ExLibris, the Pulitzer Prize-winning literary critic Michiko Kakutani shares her enthusiasm for more than 100 books, novels, and memoirs by some of today's most gifted writers, favorite classics worth reading or rereading, and nonfiction works that illuminate our social and political landscape and such pressing issues as climate change, medicine, and the consequences of digital innovation. With Dana Tanamaki's richly detailed illustrations that evoke vintage book plates, ExLibris is a timely reminder of why reading matters more than ever. So yes, I forgot to mention there are illustrations in there too. And it goes through just different books that every person should read and reread. But here's one The Origins of Totalitarianism, 1951, Hannah Arendt. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but there's a little blurb about that book. I don't know if there's pictures for it or not. Doesn't look like it. Not just yet. Oh, there it is. Oh, this is for Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. There we go. So yeah, this is another one that is on my, towards the top of my to-be-read list. So there were two more that I forgot about. One I'm actually reading right now, which is why it was in a different section and I didn't remember that I have it, and that is A Bookshop in Berlin by Francois Frenkel. There's that. My little bookmark thing is falling out. There we go. So this is a memoir of the woman's escape from the Nazis during World War II. And so she's a Jewish woman from Poland, fulfills a dream. She opens La Maison de Livre, something like that. Sorry guys, my French is bad too. Berlin's first French bookshop, and a haven for artists and diplomats, celebrities and poets. But Nazi ideology soon begins to poison the culturally rich city, and a frequent police visits and book confiscations become the norm. So she tries to leave the German occupied area, tries to escape to, I think, Switzerland, and she gets caught the first time and is sent to prison, and the second time she actually escapes. So this is the memoir, and I'm reading this one right now. So the other book, I don't actually have, I don't think I have it in the house. It's somewhere in one of my storage totes, and it is called The Little Paris Bookshop by Nina George. Let's see if I can pull up a picture of it. There it is. So you can see that is what it looks like. So the blurb on this one says, on a beautifully restored barge on the Seine, Jean Perdu runs a bookshop, or rather a literary apothecary, for the bookseller possesses a rare gift for sensing which books will soothe the troubled souls of his customers. The only person he is unable to cure, it seems, is himself. He has nursed a broken heart ever since the night 21 years ago when the love of his life fled Paris, leaving behind a handwritten letter that he has never dared read. His memories and his love have been gathering dust until now. The arrival of an enigmatic new neighbor in his eccentric apartment building on Rue Montagnard inspires Jean to unlock his heart, unmoor the floating bookshop, and set off for Provence in search of the past and his beloved. So it sounds like it's a really sweet book. I need to find it so I can add it to my collection here, and so I can actually read it. I just have to remember where the heck I put it. It's gotta be here somewhere, right? But so far, I do believe that is at least almost all of the books about books that I own. So with that, guys, thank you for watching. I will see you later. Definitely click the link down below to subscribe. A little thumbs up if you like this video. Tell me if you guys have any books about books that you collect, or if you have a favorite one, if you own any of them that I own that you've actually read. That would be cool too. Definitely let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.